So, how are you guys doing today?
Great, great.
Okay. Well, hello. We're here with another podcast today. We're with Mr. and Mrs. Howard. How are you guys doing today?
We're doing absolutely wonderful.
Okay. Mr. Howard, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name is Johnny Howard Sr.
Okay.
I was born and raised in Jacksonville, Texas. I am 66 years old.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And I have one son. I've been married to my wife, Glenda, for June the 17th to be 46 years.
Wonderful.
High school sweethearts. And once we got, she graduated high school, we got married. We have one son, Donnie Jr., and his wife is Demetra. They both live in Tomball, Texas, up on the outskirts of Houston.
Mm-hmm.
And we just love people. We love educating people on things that we know about and things that we can help people with in the area of their concerns and needs. And myself, I worked at Goodyear for 32 and a half years before they closed the plant here in Tyler.
It's like my grandfather. Grandfather at the Goodyear till they retired too.
What is his name?
Claude Ector.
Claude is your grandfather?
Yes.
I just talked to Claude yesterday. Okay? I did talk to Claude yesterday. He's a hot rodder.
He sure is. He love fast cars.
Yes. And I worked out there, and now I've always been an entrepreneur. So once I started out there, I was concerned about, at the age of 55, being able to retire.
Correct.
That was my goal. And so I started, while I was working at Goodyear, to find something that could subsidize my income. Mm-hmm. In other words, I've always did two or three things. I just didn't have one stream of income.
Right.
And I started doing network marketing in 2007. But I also, before that, started a lawn care landscaping business that was very, very successful for the time that I did it. And I did that while working at Goodyear. I did for almost 20 years.
So you stayed busy.
I stayed busy constantly.
That's wonderful, sir. Wonderful, sir.
Yeah.
Miss Howard, how are you?
I could say I am absolutely just amazingly blessed.
That's good.
Yeah. I am, I'm from a family of, I had three older brothers,
Mm-hmm.
and I was the only female. Loved every second of it. When I say loved every second of it, because they treated me like their little princess. And as time went on, I we went to school. I went to school.
Mm-hmm.
My mother, she was a single parent, so I loved to cook because that was one of the things that she was an excellent cook. So I'd always be in the kitchen with her while she was cooking. So I picked up some great tips on cooking and just taking care of the family. Shortly after then, I was 16 years old. I started dating, and that's when I met my now husband. And 2 years later, we got married. Then 2 more years later, we had a son. So an amazing son, Donnie Jr.
Right.
And after then, I began to work out in corporate America. I started out working in Montgomery Wards years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Worked there 15 years. Later in 1995, I was blessed to be able to work downtown in the Smith County District Attorney's Office. That was such a rewarding job to be able to be in the servant position in order to be able to help others. I worked there almost 17 and a half years, and later on I retired. After upon retirement, I just wasn't finished. Mm-hmm. I wanted to still be serving someone, serving others, serving in the community.
Right.
And that's when I started subbing. And that was a highlight of servicing a child with a disability. Mm-hmm. But yet instead, so rewarding to know that I could be a person of value in his life.
Correct.
So as we continued on, I decided that I was going to retire from punching a clock, so to speak. And so this is where we are today. My husband and I, we are health and wellness ambassadors uh, for Six Star Jewel Reign. This is where we educate, inform all men, all women, basically all female teens and all about the harmful effects of sanitary napkins and tampons.
Okay.
And we have a potential solution with our Rain products, along with our vitamin sprays. So that's what we do. We enjoy, we travel together as my business partner, and most of all, my husband.
Oh, it's a wonderful team.
Yes, yes, it's been a great adventure, and I can say this, that we have learned, because it is a learned process. Everything is a learned process.
Correct.
We have learned how to piggyback off of each other to be a strength
Right.
that has come together to create something that's so beautiful and so great that when people see us, they think that we just have the answer to everything, which I would say that's far from being what it is. But being together as long as we have, we've learned each other's likes, dislikes,
Right.
needs and wants and desires to be able to display that the ability to get along, the ability to do business together, and the ability to have a longevity in marriage.
Right.
All of this is possible, and it starts with what she said earlier. I can.
Right.
Yeah, and the strength comes from the Lord up above, because He said, "I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me." And with that attitude, if you keep Him first, there's a divine order. You have God, you have the husband, and then you have the wife, and then you have the family.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can learn how to keep that divine order, God covers the man, then the man covers the family. It covers the wife and the family.
Right.
So that divine order has helped us to be able to learn the laws of living, and also learn the laws of business. And everything that we do, we associate it with what we believe.
That's a wonderful thing. And I was wondering, before we went back into what you guys were going to talk about, was the marriage. I always had a question about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, where does when you say there's God, then the man, then the wife, and then the kids, I was wondering, like, where does the line get drawn when it's like, is there always like good, is it mainly based off good communication, or is it just how you guys connect with each other?
It's I could answer this. It's called work, WORK, and you have to put forth an effort every single second that you're together, because you have to realize that you're two different people coming together in one household to become one.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it says, you become. It doesn't automatically start out, because we have likes, we have dislikes, but I don't like to use the word compromise, but we come together and to complete each other, not compete.
Right. I never really thought about it, because I always felt like, I don't know, I guess because I'm just, maybe just the way I think, because I was thinking I was thinking, I feel like there's so much responsibility as a man. And I feel like that can how do you keep yourself up? I feel like there's a lot of pressure, always thinking like your family all the time, like you're already an individual, we're living in this world. How do you come together with your family?
One of the things that I have that has helped me is to know my position,
Mm-hmm.
and to be able to stay in my lane. I understand a lot of times that whenever we do have discussions or agreements or disagreements, that it's always a way of escape. And what I mean by that is it's a give and take. You have to be able to know what you know.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be able to stand on what you know, but you also have to be open-minded enough to say, I need to take in consideration what my wife is saying, what she's thinking, how she's acting,
Right.
because it's the whole person that you're married to. You're not just married to one part of the person. And once you know her likes, her dislikes, and the direction that she wants to go, because we all have dreams and aspirations.
Correct.
And my dream in life was, when I had my family, to always be there for my family.
Mm-hmm.
And as a man, we always want to be the ones that fix things, okay?
Correct.
And so, you're gonna have your agreements and disagreements, but the thing at the end of the day is you have two choices: are you gonna stay or are you gonna go?
Right.
And those are the two choices that you have.
Right. Oh, it's fine.
Maybe.
So, yes. Thank you. Now, my main question when we first discussed it on the phone was, how did you guys get into what we're going to discuss today? The woman, how do I say it?
The feminine.
Thank you.
Feminine products.
Feminine product. What did you guys get into it?
Well, I'm gonna tell you the truth. How we got into this, it started with my husband. Believe it or not, he had another gentleman that was already had seen the video,
Mm-hmm.
and he forwarded it on to my husband. But after he forwarded that on to my husband sent it to me, and I was upset. I was angry because I asked him, "Why would you do this?" And it's because of my testimony. When I was having a cycle,
Mm-hmm.
it never was good. So I just had a lot of issues. So it brought back memories, and it was just like it was still a sore spot there that I did not want to rehash again.
Mm-hmm.
But after I saw the video, and we went to Atlanta, and I saw all the men up on stage, literally crying, and all the men lining up to buy these products for their wives, their daughters, their nieces, the upper female that they had in their life at that time.
Mm.
So I had to come back and apologize to my husband because I was being selfish. And I realized that this is not about me. It's about who I can help.
Right.
And so this is how we got into it, and we haven't looked back. This has been an amazing journey. I consider ourselves as being servant people, to be able to serve others. So because it is a necessity, it's something that God has designed for a female. It's a natural thing that we do.
Mm.
So this is all part of the reason why we're here.
Right.
To have our reproductive, because he says we need to continue to multiply. And if we don't have our reproductive organs, we're not able to multiply.
Okay.
My take on that part is that when I saw the video, Glenda and I, again, we started our family 2 years after we got married. So she was actually 20 years old, and I was 22.
Mm-hmm.
And she got pregnant, and she had a miscarriage.
I'm sorry.
And then we decided we'd try again. She got pregnant, and we had our son, Donnie Jr.
Mm.
But after that, she had 2 more miscarriages, and after that last miscarriage, but when that last one happened, we learned lying in the bed, and I had to wrap her up in sheets and rush her to the hospital. Couldn't wait on the ambulance in fear that she might hemorrhage to death. So I wrapped her up in sheets, rushed her to the hospital, and at that point, when she did have the miscarriage, she bled for like 30 days straight. And it was a situation where that, it was devastating to both of us because at the age of 25, her doctor called us in his office and told us that if we tried to have any more kids, she would die. And at that point, she was still suffering. And one of the things that happens with a lot of women is they don't know about their feminine care and what's happening and how all these issues are coming to be. And so once we had that to happen, and she later on had a hysterectomy, then it was a situation where when I saw that video, I didn't see a business opportunity at first. I saw how my wife suffered. I saw how me dating her at an early age, couldn't come to school. I would ask her brother, because he was my best friend, where she was, and he said she's at home sick. And so when I reached out to her and everything, I found out that it was that time of the month, and she was in a fetal position. She couldn't operate. And again, when I saw the video, I did my research and everything, and I found out that the product that's on the market is made out of recycled trash from the landfill, and they bleach it to make it a pure white. That bleaching process creates a chemical called dioxin, and once dioxin gets into a woman's system, it's worse than cyanide. It starts out like heavy migraine headaches. It moves from heavy headaches to heavy cramping, from heavy cramping to heavy bleeding, endometriosis, fibroid tumors, ovarian cysts, ovarian cancer, all the way to hysterectomies. And hysterectomies are being performed at the rate of over 600,000 a year right here in the United States. And we have did our due diligence and our research in things of that area. And we found out that there's a lot of things that could cause that. And one of them is the product that's on the market.
Okay. I'm sorry for your problems, man.
Well, thank you so much.
No problem. With this product, it was saying the product is meant to help with the cycle. Is it help?
It could potentially help because if it's infused with a Nobel Prize-winning material called graphene, and graphene, it's derivative from carbon. Our bodies are made of carbon, so and the things that it assists with when a lady's on her feminine flow, it's possible it could reduce the cycle, reduce the cramping because it's and the odor. That's one of the things that the ladies, most women want, to have to not deal with the odor that's associated when you're on your cycle, because it's waste coming out of your body. So it kills the odor. I say it's a 99.9% bacteria killer. They can't coincide together. Helps put oxygen back into your blood. Helps with fatigue, stress. It's just so many other properties that go along with graphene. Till I can sit here all day and just name. We have a few that's advertised on our website. So the product has spoke for itself. If we have a testimonial call that my husband and I both host every Tuesday morning, and that is ladies, even men call in from all over. They share the testimonies of some of the women in their lives, and the women call in. They're so open to share what has transpired since they have been using this product, and the before and after.
Wow, I'm really happy you guys managed to come up with a solution for it. I'm wondering, like, is it something that all women deal with? Like, I know it's like some women can't have periods, some women can. I was wondering, like, is this product just meant for anyone, just like any female to use, or is it just mainly meant for women who have a over flow?
No, it's a product that's designed for any kind of body fluid, whether it's urine. A lot of ladies just have a bladder leakage, so that's urine, and it's a fluid, but any type of fluid. And like I said, even men use this product. The men that have had prostate issues, again, that's a fluid. That's urine coming out of your body because they're so thin and not noticeable, but they absorb it. And when I say absorbent, it's have a safe polymer, and it's how it's made. It's made out of it's like a soft cotton, and the backing of the material of it is called like a vegetable grade, and then the ones on the market is like an industrial grade glue, which is not conducive to anyone's body, because during that time of the month, a lady heats up 98 point, something. Everybody body is different. All females are different. Might not have the same type cycle, that every woman have. But there you have a dark place because where it's located, like I say, there's heat, and that is all a cesspool for bacteria to grow. So this is one of the things that we don't make any medical claims or health claims. It's based on testimonies of the ladies that say how it's a personal testimony, how this has helped each individual in some kind of way. Some may say it reduced or eliminated her cramps. Most of them say it did away with the odor. And some say it shortened my cycle. So it varies from person to person, or user to user.
Correct. How's it helped you?
Yes, I'm beyond that stage of having a feminine flow, but I wear them for freshness
Mm.
because, like I say, it's a leakage. Like I said, I'm 64 years old. Sometimes I might laugh a little or can't get to the bathroom in
All right.
time, and there might be a little trickle. So yes, I wear the panty shields. So the panty shields are just absolutely, because I say it's again, it whatever fluids coming out of your body, it helps. It helps me balance my pH balance. I used to have hot flashes so bad, my husband would be freezing and I would be hot because it's a hormonal thing, and it just makes your body just flush and you just hot. But it has controlled that
Mm.
tremendously. So I'm able to go out through my day a lot more calmer because it does. It helps with, it gives me energy, uh, and I'm not as tired.
Mm.
So there's something for all females, and like I say, some of the men, it's designed for a woman, but it's designed for fluids. So anything, whether it's blood or urine.
And one of the things that I would say, remember, while she's talking about this, is she had a hysterectomy.
Mm.
And that's one of the key things that's causing us to do what we're, it's a problem. It's a problem. If you have doctors that have people lined up months in advance to be able to have this surgery, that's a problem. And our females don't know what's causing the problem. And it's our job to educate. And an educator is not a teacher.
Mm.
A teacher teaches a curriculum. An educator educate you on situations.
Correct.
Okay, so we are educators, and we travel all over the United States, and we educate people about the harmful effects, and we provide a potential solution, which is our RAIN product.
Okay. What is the? I was struggling. I was struggling saying it in my head. Her. Can you say the word for me?
What's that?
Her. Oh my God! I can't.
What is it pertaining to? Hysterectomy?
Yes.
Okay.
So what exactly? What causes it?
What causes having it? A lot of time it's called fibroid tumors, and a lot of time those fibroid tumors, some will be benign, and a lot of them might be cancerous. So, and if it's to prevent any type of cancer continue to grow, because all cancer is a cell.
Mhm.
So if it continues to grow, that's what happens. It could possibly lead to death, but what they normally do, they will go ahead and take your uterus out, your reproductive, even if it's close to your ovaries. They will take, it will call a complete hysterectomy. Some women just have to have a partial, but yet and still that is your reproductive, where you hold the babies in your uterus. So this is why I say, and this is what they do. They remove the uterus, and sometimes it's called a partial. They leave your ovaries, and that's when you could still, because when they remove everything, you don't have any hormones, and they have to give you estrogen, something to produce, so you won't be as dry.
Mm.
And that's what it kind of lubricates if you have your estrogen, your ovaries. So that's the difference between having a complete hysterectomy or partial. But it cut out the productive. You're not going to be able to bear children.
And you asked what the cause. Again, we say the only way to prevent manipulation is through validation. Google, look up the word dioxin, Dioxins, and also you can Google, look up the word, look up the benefits of graphene, Graphene. Graphene won the Nobel Physics Prize in 2010. And it's considered a wonder material because they're using it in everything. They're using it to purify water. And again, they're using it on burn patients because, like she said, bacteria and graphene cannot coexist. Mm-hmm. So once that bacteria hits that graphene pad, then it slices that bacteria in half and it kills it. They're using it on burn patients because, again, it adds oxygen to the blood, mm-hmm. and you can also help to create healthy blood cells because if you kill the bacteria and you create healthy blood cells, you'll heal quicker.
Right.
and things of that nature. So we're looking at the dioxins that's in the product that's on the market now. One of the things that I would say that's just so in your face that you don't even realize it as a woman. Think about when you go to the store, here's the product on the shelf right here that they sell for the woman's feminine care. And right down here is the treatment for what the product gives you. So it's a vicious cycle they take our women through every month. And they know that this is going to happen. And because it's a $64 billion industry, even with tampons on the box, it says well, it may cause death. But women want it for convenience. They use it. And God created them for that to be a cleansing time for their body. So when they use that tampon, it acts as a plug. And that was meant to flow out of them to get the toxins out of their body. If they don't get pregnant during that 28-day cycle, then that cycle has to complete itself by getting rid of those dead cells and stuff.
Correct.
And to be able to start over. In other words, at the first of the first cycle, then you become active enough to where you may be able to get pregnant again whenever you're having sexual intercourse and stuff like that, or even some things like in vitro fertilization, people get pregnant like that. Whatever the desire is, both ways, that cycle is very important to completing life.
Correct. Okay, I have a question. Why do you believe people are so uncomfortable talking about it? What do you think? In my findings and talking to the men have always been taught that's a woman thing. Okay? When a woman is having her feminine flow, she's mean, she's grouchy, she's hard to get along with, and that's one time of the month that you can't be intimate with a woman. Okay, so with all these negatives, they say, well, y'all need to go the other way because that don't concern you. But when that was happening with me and my wife, I always asked myself, why is she like that? What's causing her to be angry and upset and mean and not able to communicate, not being able to operate? And when I saw that, again, that video, a light bulb went off. And I said, oh, that's the cause right there. And so, in being able to share this information with people, because that's what we do, we educate. Right.
And once we educate and we share with you a potential solution, the ball's in your court. You can make a decision on the information that you have now. And again, the way to prevent manipulation is through validation. We validate everything and say, go check this out for yourself.
Right.
And then you make a decision, because at the end of the day, we know that everybody's not health conscious.
Correct.
Everybody's not health conscious. I encountered a lady this past weekend, and she was a tampon wearer. And I said, well, ma'am, do you know how dangerous that is? She said, well, I got to die from something. And that's a bad attitude to have, especially whenever you consider yourself as a individual that, when the thing hits, then you have that attitude, I don't want to die.
Right.
But at that point, you think you're never going to die whenever you have that type of attitude.
Correct.
So, it's critical thinking and stuff like that can help women to be able to discern that maybe I need to take a look at this. And being a taboo subject, some women they think that this is the way it's supposed to be.
Right.
When it's far from the truth.
Correct. Ms. Howard, how do you believe people can be more comfortable talking about it to anybody? I feel like people deal with that kind of cycle, or do it behind closed doors, or they just never deal with the emotions that come with it. I understand that's something that, because I feel like I've grown to understand that that's something that naturally happens. You can't control that. So how can I fault somebody for something they can't control?
You really can't fault them, and it's called, being ignorant. And being ignorant is lack of knowledge. So you have to be open-minded enough to know that this is not something that's passed, that, you know, they really think it's something wrong with them and it's been passed down. But a lot of things, it depends on how you really take care of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
It could depend on your diet, the foods that you eat, and then what we found out of being educating ourselves on vitamin D. Most of us are vitamin D deficient, and that plays a role. The food that we eat, the rest that we get or don't get, all of that plays a factor in it. And sometimes there might be some medical issues that's going on in your body, but I just encourage them to seek help in some kind of way, whether it's through our products, get medical advice, but yet and still, own your own body. This is your body. You only get one.
Correct.
So you have to be mindful enough that I want to take care of myself. And if there's something better out there, let me see if I can try and see if it's going to help me in some kind of way. And I tell the ladies that I approach, a lot of time they'll say, oh, I'm beyond this, I'm beyond that stage. And I said, but you know someone. So you have to get out of that not being selfish.
I'm about to say the same thing. Is it like being selfish?
Yes, because I was like that. I felt like I didn't want anybody to know my hurt of the things I had gone through. But I had to realize that the things that I went through in my past, how it could be a help to somebody in the future.
Correct.
Not having to go through the things I went through. So this is why I had to change my mind. I had to change my whole mindset as being a servant. How can I help someone else not have to suffer? Because a lot of women, right to this day, we suffer in silence. And when I say we suffer in silence, we don't tell anybody. We don't share with anybody. And sometimes the men, they just don't know because they haven't been educated. Like I said, it's just been engraved in their mind, hey, that she's going through that. But they don't ever ask why. How can I be assistant? How can I help? So it is, and a lot of women don't want to talk about it. And because of the fear of don't want anybody to know. And that's why we suffer in silence.
That's very powerful. Now, I don't know how I'm supposed to come back from that. When it comes, I know when we talk about like tampons and stuff that people use, I know that people say you can't leave a tampon in for like 3 or 4 hours. They say it's like it can cause you to die.
Well, it's because toxins in it, and like I said, it's considered as a plug. And if you have a faucet that's running and you go put something in it, well, what is it going to do? It's going to be like reverse osmosis. So all of these toxins are going right back into your body, your most precious jewel. And that's what's happening. It's reverse osmosis. It's going right back. And it can potentially stay inside of you 20 plus years. And over the period of time, it's just damage done day after day, month after month. Basically however long you wear them. Because those are toxins that's in your body that you have inserted. Mm-hmm. And you can tear your uterine wall because it's dry going up, and sometimes if you leave it in too long, it's going to be dry coming out. Some ladies have had to have it surgically removed because it has a string attached to it. Mm-hmm. If that string breaks, how are you going to get it out? Mm-hmm. So you have these toxins up in your body. Like again, some ladies I've known have had to get it surgically removed. And we have a lady, Mrs. Lauren Wasser. She was a supermodel. And this is what happened to her. She lost both of her legs for the use of a tampon. We've had teens that go to camp and they realize that they're not waking up. And they get them to the doctor and they realize they have a tampon on. So it's toxins that's in your body that it could potentially kill you. But that's what I'm saying. A lot of people don't know the...
I didn't even know all this was going on.
Right.
I was about to say, I'm not smiling like it's good. I'm smiling like I feel like I was unaware. I was unaware. I didn't know. I knew tampons were bad, but I never knew how to really go about a different way.
Right.
Well, the same thing that they make the the sanitary napkins out of, they make the tampons out of recycled trash. And, the toxins that are in those products. And then, they have a lot of things that they do. They use the Diva cup. That's still a foreign object. And that Diva cup, the way it operates is you have to fold it up, and it has to form a suction on the walls of her vagina to be able to capture that liquid. And in doing that, it's plastic. It's got plastic has chemicals.
Right.
It's made out of chemicals. It's a foreign object, and when it hits that uterine wall, it's so easy to tear that wall, and then that's how those toxins get in through those tears.
Right.
Now, not only that, you have what they call the depot shock. The depot shock stops a woman from having a menstrual cycle altogether. And that right there is disrupting what God has created a woman to be. So it couldn't be healthy because we've talked to women and they said that in taking that depot shock, they can only do it for a period of time. And if they go past a period of time, then it turns their cells into a gel-like situation. And it causes all kinds of problems. So each one of these things, just like medication, it might help this, but it's going to cause this.
Right.
Yeah. So those are some of the issues that we share with people. Hey, back in the day, they used to say she's on the rag. And our parents used cotton rags, and it didn't have those toxins in it. And that was the key to them living healthier, more healthy. Now, in this day and time, you have so much that is artificial that you have to understand and be careful what you put in your body and on your body.
Right.
So you've been educated today.
I've been very educated today. I feel completely lost. I'm wondering, I think because I know when I talked to my last ex, I know she didn't have periods at all. So how do women even deal with that? Women that don't have like regular periods.
She didn't have them at all?
She had them first she had them for a couple of years. She didn't have them, and then like every couple months, I think when she started getting on birth control. Does birth control play a big factor?
Well, why they put you on birth controls most of the time is to regulate a lady. That's what a lot of the medical terms do. It regulates their cycle. It could not. It varies. Like I said, everybody's body is different. Then for you not to be able to get pregnant, that's why they take birth control as well. But there's various reasons why women take birth control, but that's one of the two of the main that I know of.
And you have to remember that birth control is just what they say it is, birth control. And it's a steroid. And steroids are not good for the body. You've seen these bodybuilders take steroids and it bulks them up. But look at Hulk Hogan. Over a period of years, look at how his body has broken down from the use of steroids. And what that does is it breaks down the muscle mass. And when you get to a point to where those muscles do not operate on their own, they have to have those things. And as young girls, that's one of the ways that they have started to communicate to young females and parents that, okay, the only way we're going to be able to regulate their feminine flow is we're going to have to put them on birth control. And they put them on birth control as young as 11 years old.
I was thinking, I know they put them on young ages because some people say it helps with acne, but I don't know if that's true or not.
They got a lot of things that they say that it helps with, but you have to think about the body is fearfully and wonderfully made. So God created the body to be self-sufficient. And the more foreign stuff that you put in the body, that's the more it's going to disrupt what the body can do. And even to the point to where, again, it's going to cause a dependency. The body will quit operating normally and have a dependency on, okay, since I don't have to do this, it's just how wonderful the body is made. Since I don't have to make this much of this, and you're going to give it to me manually, then I'm just going to wait until you give it to me. And then if you don't give it to me, I'm going to have an adverse reaction to why I don't have it, because the body's makeup, it has to be in sync
Correct.
with everything that it's supposed to be to do. And once there's a deficiency in some area, then that's going to cause other areas to have a lack of.
All right. So I wouldn't consider it addiction. Would you call it like a withdrawal?
That's what it is. It's an addiction and a withdrawal, because the addiction comes from the withdrawals. You know, and you find out that you are addicted to it after the withdrawals show you that you need this. Okay.
Ms. Howard, would you recommend women getting on birth control?
I would leave that up to an individual. And why I say that, as far as my recommendation goes, might not be their recommendation.
Correct.
It all depends on the body of that individual. Like I said, it could be for health reasons. It could be various reasons. Some women, as a young girl, they know they're going to be active, sexually active, and they don't want to bring a baby home. You know that you're going to be sexually active. And because bringing a child into this world is a big responsibility, no matter what age, and especially if you're younger and you get pregnant, and then your parents have to help you raise this child. Your grandparents have to, the community have to help you raise this child.
Right.
And there's a lot of, like I said, even as I was a married lady, when I, and still had a child, there's a lot of things that goes into it. And like I say, there's a big cost. There's a lot of time that you have to devote to that child if you're really going to be a parent. So, like I said, it takes up a lot of your time, but sometimes when they don't sign up for it, but they do it anyway, you still have to do it. You have to take care of you. There's a responsibility that comes along with it.
Okay, cause my funny part is, well, not really funny. My biggest fear is me being like a bad father, like a bad fear of mine. Cause I feel like I know my kids didn't ask to be here at all. Like they're just a product of a decision I made one night or day, whatever time it was, and I feel bad because I was like, what can I do to help them? Because I feel like, when kids grow, of course they got ambitions and dreams, they want to do stuff. I don't want to like stop them from mistakes that I made in the past. I'm like, I can't afford to help you with this. Like I don't want my kid to be like, I want to become like a engineer, and I'm like, oh, I don't got enough money to help you go to college. Now they're working a job because they have to do it.
Well, first of all, like I said, when we first came and we sat down and started having our conversation, be careful of the words you use. I just heard you say bad father. What's a bad father? You've already programmed in your mind you have to be careful of things you say you don't want, because you bring them on yourself. So you always have to have a mindset that I'm going to be the best father that God has created. So I'm very keen on words that you speak, that you allow come out of your mouth. Don't even think about being a bad father. It says, just thank God I'm going to be the best father that you have created me to be. That shouldn't even cross your mind.
And one thing that I gather from this, and I said earlier, is God always provides a way of escape. Even though you may not have had the best of relationship with the individual that you produced a child with, that doesn't mean that you cannot still be a parent or a father to that child.
Correct.
And one of the reasons why is because when you bring a child into the world, like Ms. Howard said, it's a responsibility. Know your responsibilities. Face your responsibilities head on. And again, you might not have the best relationship with that individual, but there's always a way of escape. In other words, there's a way you can get to do what you need to do as a parent, as a father, to get that child taken care of. You might not like everything that's transpiring at that given point, but when you do your best, you stand.
Correct.
You be still and see the salvation of the Lord working, because at any given point, when things that you cannot handle or things that are out of your control, then you do what you can, and God will take care of the rest. Trust in Him and believe that He's gonna lead and guide you. Don't be selfish. Think about what can I do to better the situation, and seek guidance. Ask for help. A lot of times we take it upon ourselves to take on situations that God has given us an opportunity to surround ourselves with people that have been through what we're going through, with people that know how to navigate through certain territories and situations. So be open-minded enough to ask somebody that there's a fear of people, what you call knowing your business. And if you don't ask, to find the right answers, you have to ask the questions.
Correct.
You have to ask the questions. And once you ask those questions, then you're able to get a little bit closer. I won't say it's the solution all the time, but you'll be able to get a little bit closer, and you'll be able to make a decision on what you're informed about. And don't take everybody's word at face value, because some people, even though you might trust them, they might be in your circle, but they're not in your corner. In other words, be careful.
Correct.
Be careful who you entertain.
Right. I'm wondering, I'm thinking, like, who could I really go to for advice? And I have my mother, my father, people around me, but I'm wondering, like, it seems like people don't really talk about what's going on with them a lot. Even when it comes to periods, one thing, or mental stability, or financials, what's going on. I wonder why that, like, something, even, I don't know if even being based on the community, but even in general, people don't do that.
It's out of fear and of not wanting anybody to know. And it's just a fear.
And what's the acronym for fear?
False evidence appearing real. And it is. It's a fear.
Caught me off guard with that one.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's a fear that a lot of times we don't want anybody to know. It's a stigma that sometimes, not all, and I'm not ever going to, I don't want to say all, because everybody is not alike.
Correct.
Everybody is different. Some people want the help. Some people seek help. Some people don't. So, and again, I'm always going to say it's an individual thing. Everybody is different. And you have to have principles, and you have to have values for yourself. And stand on the words, stand on the principles. You can't go wrong with that.
Correct.
My mother used to tell me all the time, see, the word doesn't need any crutches. It'll stand on its own. So that's a principle.
You guys catching me off guard today.
Why are we catching you off guard?
God, I know it's gonna be so serious.
Well, you ask for when
I know. If you ask, you shall receive.
You shall receive.
You shall receive.
And like I said, I wanted you to be comfortable as well. This is our first time meeting one another, so you said this is something that you want to do, but you had to start. See, if
Correct.
you never start, you'll never start.
Correct.
So you had to start, and we're just so glad that we were here and available to be here for you.
Correct.
And to assist you in your endeavor of what you're doing at this point.
Correct. I really appreciate you guys really coming out to helping me.
Well, one of the things that I said earlier, whenever we came together, was we want to leave people with value. We want to leave people better than what we found them. And the way you do that is you impart your wisdom with them. I don't say on them, because you're not trying to push it on them, but you impart it with them.
How do you not put that's something I struggle with, because when I give advice, I try to put it on them instead of letting them get their wisdom and go on their way. I try to lead them in the direction.
Okay, this is the mindset that you have to have anytime that you're educating, talking to an individual. You have to let them know you have a chance and a choice every day that you wake.
Correct.
So you can choose. God gave that to you. He does not even force himself on you. It's a choice. It's a choice that you make. He said, I stand at the door and I knock. So he's there for you. And you have to open the door to let him in. And that's the same thing with us. When we share the knowledge that we have, It's not saying this is the way that it's done, and you have no other way of doing it, but just this certain way. No, we lay the foundation, we share what we know, and then it's your choice to either receive it or reject it.
Correct. You may sound so simple.
That's just the way it is. Life is simple, and we complicate it.
I'll say the same thing. I always feel like I feel like people make life complicated. I feel like it can
They
be.
do.
I feel like it's very simple.
It is.
And again, like I said, even in a relationship, you got two choices.
You can stay or you can go.
You can stay or you can go. It's just what you want to deal with. And a lot of times we want hurt people.
I noticed that.
Yeah, if we're hurting, we want somebody else to hurt. We want somebody else to have those feelings the way we feel. But sometimes you have to take in consideration, why are you hurting? What are you doing to cause the hurt? Because a lot of time, just like Leandra Johnson says, all I do is hurt me.
Correct.
Lord, deliver me. All I seem to do is hurt me.
Correct.
And what is your exodus?
Correct.
What is our exodus whenever we come to that point? What is the decision that we're going to make to keep us from keep doing that? It's your choice.
Correct. Thank you.
I'm going to leave this with you, and it's meant so much to me. This was passed on from my mother many, many, many years ago. She transitioned in 2002.
I'm sorry.
One thing that she told me, and I live by it, she said, I want you to learn how to live in peace and not into pieces. Because if you allow it, life will break you into pieces. But you have to remember, the master can always put you back together again. But you have to keep your hands in his hand. And I haven't forgotten that. So I just want to pass that on to you. It meant so much to me. So whatever you do with it,
It's up to me.
it's up to you.
Choices.
Some-
Chance and a choice.
Every day is a choice. But how do you know you're making the right choices?
You will.
Or you won't. You make that choice,
There's going to be
and then
consequences, no matter what you do.
you make that choice, and then you live with the choices that you make, because your choices make you.
Correct.
Yeah. So if it's not the choice, then you do the best you can with the choice you made, and then you let next time you'll know how to handle it if it didn't work the first time. Because again, every day that God gives you breath, you get a chance, and then you also get a choice.
It's okay.
I'm fine. I just learned so much today, because I really have to change my perspective on the bad father. That's what's been sticking with me this whole rest of this podcast. I heard what you said about your mom. Just that bad part. I never really thought about it being like such a bad thing, that it's controlling, I guess, the aspect of it.
Because you're thinking negative. Negative is what it is. It's negative. Just wake up been having an attitude of gratitude. Every day he allows you to wake up. It's a blessing. And look at it as a true blessing of just to be able to see another day and enjoy all of his grace and his new mercies that he gives us all, every day. So be careful of the words. I'm telling you, the words that we use, we bring things onto ourselves.
And one of the things that I would like to piggyback off of what she just said was, sometimes we wake up and we say, I got to do this today. I've got to do that. When you say it in that manner, that's a negative connotation. It's negative because that puts pressure on you.
Everything is negative.
Yeah, it is. But think about it. When you say, I've got to do this, then your mindset is saying, if I don't get it done, then there's going to be a
Negative consequences.
that's negative consequences, because I've got to get it done, and that puts pressure on you. Okay, and that goes back to living in peace. What you can say is, I get an opportunity to do this today. See, And if it happens, good. If it doesn't happen, then what can I do to make it better? Because every day I get a chance and a choice.
Correct.
So you have to learn how to take that pressure off of yourself, because stress is a major killer. And people that are stressed out, they are reactive instead of proactive.
Correct.
And you can take some preventive measures if you can think straight. And when you have pressure on you, then a lot of times you make decisions from your emotions. And once you start doing things like that, sometimes you do make the wrong decision. So if you're not under pressure, then you have an opportunity, like she said earlier, take a deep breath. Think about what you want to do before you respond. And I'd say respond, it could be verbal or it could be action. Think before you respond. And even so, we don't think about our subconscious mind. Our subconscious mind controls a lot about us. And there's a video on YouTube that says, the title of it is I Am, the 2 most powerful words in the world. And what you speak, if you say that 21 days straight, then you'll start believing it yourself. I am prosperous. I am a great father. I'm rich. Anything you attach to I am, and you keep repeating it, you'll start believing it. And once you start believing it, you'll start achieving it. So those 2 words right there are very powerful. The Bible says that, they asked who God was. He said, I am that I am. Okay? Right. So these are things that validation prevents manipulation. Say, and go to YouTube and look at that and listen to it 21 days straight, even when you're going to sleep at night. Because a lot of times when we go to sleep, if we go to sleep with something on our mind, we're not going to rest as good. We're gonna toss and we're gonna turn. But if you can put that on and listen to it, it's going to change how you think.
Correct.
Think and trust me, I did it and it helped me. It helped me.
Okay. Right. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
There's something I know. My biggest issue is I'm my biggest critic.
Mm-hmm.
If I make one mistake, I'll be like, "Why do you do it?" And if I don't do something, I'm on myself again. Like, we could have got it done. Why didn't we get it done? I feel like, how do I stop myself from being so hard on myself?
Procrastination is one of the biggest nations in the world.
You ain't never lied. That kills me every day.
Okay. And one of the things that we have to learn how to do is what they call eat that frog. Do the thing. Do the thing, because like Ms. Howard said, if you don't start, you never start. And one of the things that you have to learn how to do is not beat yourself up because you don't get things done in a certain amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to give yourself
Give yourself grace.
Yeah, grace. Give yourself grace, because at the end of the day, there's 24 hours in a day. We all have the same amount of time, and we need to be able to delegate the time that we have, and like she said, purposely. If you do things on purpose, then you can line up things, and it's not going to always go the way you lined it up.
Mm-hmm.
But what's for you is for you. And God is the one that said, I know the plans that I have for you, to prosper you and not harm you, and to give you life, and give you life more abundantly. And so with Jeremiah 29:11 in mind, then you think on that, and again, what you think, that's what you become. The Bible says, as a man thinketh, so is he. Yeah.
I never really thought about once. I know they say your thoughts are very powerful, but I never...
Mm-hmm. Thoughts are things. Thoughts are things.
Never thought them as things either. Cause I think I'm so much in my head all the time. I don't think I ever see it. I'm always like digging. I'm always thinking of something, and then building off of it. Like, my mind catches one thing and just blow it all into proportions.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, do you try to control your mind? Or do you try to understand your mind?
Both.
because I don't try. I don't try. You know what? Want me to tell you why I don't try?
Why don't you try, sir?
Because if I'm trying, I'm lying. I either do it or I'm not doing it.
That's the bottom line.
Bottom line. Your yes has to mean yes, and your no mean no. Definite. Be definite about what you do. Either you're going to do it or you're not going to do it. And be truthful to yourself.
Like I said, be intentional.
Mean it when you do it.
Be intentional. And I learned at an early age, know your purpose. Know why you're here.
You ever question why you're here?
Oh, no.
I have. I questioned why I was here whenever I didn't know my purpose. But once I found my purpose, then I see, one thing about people is they want to have, the first thing they want to do is be important. But after you tasted significance, importance doesn't matter anymore. And that's me. I'm at a point in my life to where I want to be significant. And, I reference the Bible because that's what I live my life by. And when I say being significant, that means if I can help somebody along the way and leave them better, then that's what I want to do. And I don't need high men to know my name. I don't have to have a title because I know who I am. I know whose I am. And God has ordained people to be with me. And ain't no devil in hell can stop what God has for me. So know your purpose. And yes, at some point in time, you're going to question your purpose. But God will always give you, seek wisdom. Seek wisdom, and he'll give it to you.
Gotcha. Howard, you want to comment anything else on it?
No, because like I said, it's so important to know your purpose, know why you're here, And I was just blessed and fortunate to have a mother that instilled that in us, to know our purpose, have a plan, live in peace and not in the pieces. This is something we were taught early on. Everybody didn't have that because they didn't have my mother as their parent. And all parents, they didn't come here to how to raise. It was something, it was a God-given gift, and they used it to the best of their ability. And like I say, we're both different, but we learn how to come together as one. We come from totally different backgrounds.
And you said earlier that you guys never compromise. Y'all just discuss.
We complete one another.
Yeah.
And you have to learn. That's a learned behavior. It
Yes.
didn't happen automatically. I would be sitting here lying if I said it did. It's a learned behavior. Like, again, we come from totally different backgrounds. But yet and still, as we began to come together and to be together, and for the amount of time we've been together.
It's called growth.
Yeah.
You have to grow together. And growth is never, change is inevitable. But when you embrace that change, it can take you to a level that you never dreamed of. And when you resist that change, then things will go in disarray. Because just like, think about this, a cell phone. They used to have telephone booths.
All right.
Then they moved to the house phone. And now we have the cell phone.
Right.
Those are trends that changed that you didn't have anything to do with.
They changed on their own.
They happened anyway.
Correct.
So, and with that mindset, if you can get out in front of a trend, then you have a possibility of doing something great.
So is there a way for you to get in your own way?
Get in your own way?
Yes. I guess I mean like in the sense of like, I know when we say positive thoughts are always a good thing to have, and moving forward with positive thoughts is always good. I was wondering when I said get in your own way, I mean it like in the sense of like the doubt, I believe is what.
Let me, have you ever driven a car going forward but looking back?
maybe my rearview mirror, but never. Oh, I see what you mean. No, ma'am.
So why would you? You can't progress, right?
No.
So you can't move forward by looking back.
Correct.
You have your foot on the accelerator. You're going forward, but yet still you're looking back. You've already passed that. We cannot go back and get the we cannot go back and get the last second that we just had. It's already gone. So continue to strive forward, continue to move forward in your life. It's a continuation. And there's danger, you know, and my husband and I, we say it all the time. Stay in your lane. If you try to get in somebody else's lane, and because you run into traffic. But if you stay in your lane, run your course. That is your course. I can't run his course. He can't run mine. But we can come together as one, as much as we possibly can, in order to achieve. Like I said, we're on a mission. When I say my husband and I, we're on a mission. And this mission is to educate as many people that we possibly can to see it could possibly change or better their lives in some kind of way. This is an agreement that we both have. This is why I said this is a mission, a ministry for us. So you have to find your happy place. Your happy place is not my happy place. So it's an individual thing.
And doubts and fears are going to come.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Doubts and fears are going to come. Steve Harvey has put it this way: leap, jump, and you'll grow wings when you start to go down. In other words, you keep doing the thing, and the magic will appear. Be consistent, and the magic will appear. And I don't mean magic literally.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, the answers will come. Yeah.
And I'm going to say I am so proud of you, just meeting you, for you to continue, because you were very persistent of calling us, sending us a text. You didn't give up.
No.
Because this was your desire.
Correct.
This was your goal. This was your dream, that you wanted to have a podcast.
It was.
And there's nothing coincidental for why we're here.
Correct.
We're here for a reason.
Right.
You called us for a reason. So, prayerfully, that we were able to be some kind of assistant or help to you today. And for you to continue to further your goals, your dreams, your desires that you have set for yourself. It's always good to have healthy boundaries.
Correct.
I don't care if it's in a relationship, family, just have you got to have a healthy boundary. We have a healthy boundary line for us as husband and wife. I don't overstep that boundary with him, and he knows if he does, and vice versa. I know if I overstep my boundary. So it's always good to have a healthy boundary with between one another, other people, friends,
In relationships.
And relationships.
In
Right.
relationships all together.
So
Yeah.
I thank you so much just for you coming out today and wanting to do this podcast.
Right.
And
Not only that, well, if there's anything that we can do to be of further assistance, because it takes a village. It takes a village.
Correct.
And anything that we have an opportunity to be a part of, to be a blessing to somebody. See, one of the things I found out that is whenever you give, it's given back to you. And you don't give to get it back. You give from your heart, and you allow God to use that for the increase. Yeah, you don't expect it. I'm doing this because of this. No, you give from your heart, and you let God do the increase.
Correct.
Because it's definitely a situation where you have to have a mindset of giving, be a giver. Everybody's not givers. We have a lot of takers out there.
We do.
We have a lot of takers. So be a giver and give from the heart. And once you give it from the heart, you let God take care of the rest of it. Even in times of if somebody does you wrong, he'll fight your battles. He said, be still. Let me fight your battles. But also, if you give him something and you pick it back up, he'll let you have it.
Right.
He'll let you have it. And he'll be standing on the sideline saying, okay, you gave it to me, but you wanted it back, so there it is. Do what you can with it.
Right.
But when he fixes it, it's fixed.
Correct.
It's fixed. So let us help you in any way we can. You have our information. Reach out to us, and whatever we can do, we will.
Okay. Well, thank you guys so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
All right. I think that's how we go. I think I'm just going to shut it off right there.
Okay.